All right. Welcome back, everyone. What is it? It's Wednesday, week 6. So moving along, I got to tell you, I am sick and tired of sitting in front of this square, staring at the screen all day. I'm tired of my butt in the chair, staring at the square. It's just driving me crazy. I'm looking forward to us getting back to school. We only got a few more weeks, and I cannot wait. I think that will be just awesome, getting our hands on tools and running around through the shop. So it's coming up quick, people. For today, we are going to be starting a new project. We're going to be looking at air conditioning furnace filters. So we'll be checking those out today. We're very close to starting our second engineering project, which will be the water tower. We'll start that probably next week. It's possible we'll start it Friday, but I'm just figuring it'll probably be next week. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, we'll launch into the furnace filter stuff today. I just got to pull the page up so I can share it with you. Let's see here. That was for the robots. Robot people are doing electrical safety. It's always a brutal part of the course. There it is. Okay. Yeah, electrical safety is always a brutal part of the course because electricity can do terrible things to human beings, but it's also one of the highest paid fields, and I highly recommend all of you guys to take electricity classes in your future. Electricity just works in every single trade that's out there. It's just synonymous with the working world, and so it's a good idea to have knowledge with electricity. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, we're going to be looking at air conditioning units today. So you might have a dual unit where it's heating and air conditioning, or you might just have two separate units. It just kind of depends how your house was set up. Most of the houses I've seen before, like my parents' houses and family's houses, most of them are going to be 2 units. But on my new house that we got, it's not new, it was built in '47, but in my house, it's actually got a heater and air conditioner all in one. So those are out there as well. Okay. Heating and air conditioning units are often one of the biggest expenses that homeowners will encounter. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning units, or HVAC, as they are referred to in the industry, therefore, are one of the most important systems in a house when it comes to maintenance. A well-maintained system will work better and last longer than a neglected unit. One of the easiest and most important maintenance requirements is to routinely change out the furnace/air conditioning filter. We will be exploring how to change a filter today. Okay, now, The filter for both your heating and air conditioning will be the same filter, okay? So whether you have two separate units or whether you have one unit, the filter for the stuff is still gonna be the same filter, okay? They both share a duct system up in your attic where all the duct work goes and the air blows around up there in the attic. So they're both gonna share that. I'm gonna turn this off for a while. Okay, because I wanna pay attention to this and I don't wanna have to focus on chat. So you will have the same filter for both units. Now, because we live in California and we've just gone through this recent heat wave for the last month or so, we've had so many over 100-degree days. And then in addition, we've had nothing but smoke. And I think people from other parts of the country couldn't even imagine what we're going through here in California, how bad the air is. I heard a report yesterday that the air in Oregon was the worst, the most polluted air in the whole globe was in Oregon. Okay, in the whole globe. And think of that. There's a lot of places in India and China that have horrible, horrible air pollution. Just remember the Olympics were like postponed and they were hanging in a balance because China's air might have been so poisonous for the Olympic athletes. Okay, but we in Oregon have the most polluted air right now because of all these forest fires. Okay, so we've had this unique experience where we have not been able to open windows in houses for probably 2 to 3 weeks here in California. And so our air conditioning units are running overtime. They are working themselves to death in this environment. Yeah, they're just constantly running. By the way, if you have, I can't see your hands, so if you have a question, just verbalize it. That way I can hear it. Okay, because when I'm sharing my screen, I can't see all the rest of you guys. Okay, so anyways, they've been working overtime and they're gonna need some maintenance. Some of the easiest maintenance are changing out filters. So we're gonna talk about those today. All right, so HVAC, and I want all of you guys to remember that because we're in industry now. We're in the construction industry. We should know what HVAC is, okay? Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning filters, okay? Now, if you don't think air conditioning and heating is important, listen to this stat. Over the life of a building, it will cost more to heat and cool that building than it will to actually build the building. Okay, so if you go to any of those buildings downtown, you know, those multi-$100 million buildings that get built, it will cost more over the life of that building to heat and cool it than it will to purchase the building. Let that sink in for a second. That's a crazy stat. Okay, that's one of the reasons heating and air conditioning people get paid so much money, because there's such a huge energy demand of heating and air conditioning systems. Okay, they cost a ton of money, so it's worth it for people to invest in keeping their systems running efficiently. Okay, so these are both excellent trades to get into. It's all one trade, it's HVAC, but if you get into the HVAC trade, lots of jobs here in California because we have both really hot weather and really cold weather, and we have lots of big buildings that need very professional air conditioning systems done. And if you like robotics too, the newest trends in all the buildings is to have everything automated so that you can control everything. Even the schools are slightly automated and we're pretty behind the times. So there's lots and lots of jobs, whether you like the HVAC industry or whether you like the robotics side of it, there's lots and lots of jobs in that industry. Very high paying, very in demand jobs, and a lot of people make fortunes for starting business in those areas. Okay, some of the hugest companies around here, like we have Bonnie, Train, there's one more that's really huge, Bell Brothers, like that. They've just started their business here and it's just exploded. Okay, so there's lots and lots of money in these trades. All right, let's talk about the filters a little bit. Keeping a clean filter. Oh, Tim's here. Keeping a clean filter allows air to move through your system. So if you didn't know how these things work, they're going to pull air from the house, they're going to bring it into the system, and then they're going to blow the processed air back into the house, and that'll be hot or cold depending on what it is. But they're taking air from your house, filtering it out, and then returning it to the house. The filter is very important. If you don't have a good filter, then all the dirt's going to go past the filter and it's going to plug up your actual air conditioning system. In addition, the air conditioning system will then blow that air everywhere. So you could imagine if you had a bunch of dirty air in your air conditioning and then it turns the fans on, it's going to blow it everywhere. So all the poisons, the pollutions, the pollens, the dust, the diseases, everything that's flowing around in the air, if it's not filtered, it's just going to stir it all up and mix it into the air system. So it's very important to have a good filter. Filter is going to keep your house clean, and it's going to keep the air conditioning system clean. Now, if the filter gets plugged, your air conditioning system's not going to work very well. It's going to trying to be sucking through a filter that won't allow air to go through it. So in other words, it's a system that needs airflow, and you're robbing it of airflow. So in other words, you're putting a tremendous strain on the system. So these simple filters, and the filters cost anywhere from about $5 to $30. Those simple filters can save you lots and lots of money. We already learned the air conditioning system is probably the most expensive thing that you could replace in your house. Oftentimes, like mine's a heating and air conditioning system in one unit, and it's on top of my house. I would bet it's $30,000 to $40,000 to replace my system. Okay, that's insane. That's scary. Like, that's things people fear, their air conditioning going out. I just had a friend that she has a 2,500 square foot house. Their air conditioning was $18,000 to replace. And I had another friend replace one a few years ago. His was, I think, $13,000. So we're talking huge expenses here that we can help prolong having to pay if we just keep the filter maintained. Okay, so let's look at these filters here. If you look, I put a cool little picture on my website here, and it's showing the size of the particles that are flowing around in your house. So it shows things like human hairs, okay, and it's showing that they are 100 microns, okay? Microns are what you see through a microscope, by the way. That's how you measure stuff when you look through a microscope. So these are very, very small. A human hair is about 3/1000ths of an inch wide. So it's pretty small, okay? And then you see we've got like carpet fibers, pollen, dust mites, plant spores, pet dander, hairspray, auto emission, mold spores, bacteria. Okay, there's all kinds of things on here. None of that stuff do we want to breathe. And then if you look on the right side, you see burning wood, cooking smoke, tobacco smoke, and smog. Those are all on the very small ends of the spectrum. So if you look at that filter, up on the left, you'll see MERV rating 8. Okay, that's not that good. That's only going to filter out human hair, carpet fibers, pollen, dust mites, plant spores. Okay, as you get over to this MERV 13 rating, now we start getting into the really small stuff. So the bigger ones are going to filter out 100 microns. These are 0.3 microns on the small side. So they do a tremendous job filtering that stuff out. Okay, if you want to get rid of all that smoke that we're breathing, you have to have something in that MERV 11 to 13 range, okay? So that's what we're talking about here. MERV is the rating system for furnace and air conditioning filters. MERV is shorthand for minimum efficiency reporting values, okay? In other words, it just tells you how good the filter is. A higher MERV rating, the better. Okay, I'm gonna show a little video here. It just talks about that just a little bit so you can see the difference.
Are you looking for a new air filter for your furnace or air conditioner? Hi, Ken Justo with ASI Hastings Heating and Air Conditioning. White Glove guys. Furnace filters are rated by the MERV system. The air conditioning and heating industry define MERV as minimum efficiency reporting value. The data range that's used is 1 through 16. The higher the number, the more efficient the filter. Filters with a MERV rating of 1 to 4 are typically disposable filters, just like this. Now we say that the filter like this is good for the 3 Bs: birds, bowling balls, and BBs. It's not going to capture much more. Especially it's not going to capture the small particulate that can aggravate allergies, asthma, or upper respiratory problems. In addition, an air filter should keep your equipment clean. This filter won't. Although it's the least expensive filter, over the life of your system, you're going to spend a lot more money with the cost of ownership if you use a filter like this. An air filter with a MERV rating of 5 through 8 will do a much better job of keeping your equipment clean and keeping it running efficiently for years to come. However, if you're really looking for an answer to allergies, asthma, or upper respiratory problems, this probably isn't it. Now this air filter here with a MERV rating between 9 and 12, a filter like this, you can see it's much wider, it's 4 inches. If you were to unfold this filter, you'd probably wind up with about 30 square foot of filter surface. This will not only keep your equipment clean, it's going to make your home much healthier. It removes that small particulate. This is probably going to capture anywhere from about 50 to 70% of pollens, little microbial growths that fly around in the air. If you ever look through your window and you see the little dust particles that kind of float around, those are only 10 microns. Filters like this will capture down to 3 microns, so it's going to do a good job in making your home much healthier. And if you're looking for the best air filtration system on the planet today, you would think of a MERV 16 or a HEPA filter. Now a HEPA filter, as you can see, we've got lots of pleats in this filter. Very, very efficient. This is going to take care of the smallest particulate. It's going to keep your equipment clean. It's going to remove the smallest pollens, viruses, bacteria, and household dust. You can't get a better filter on the market today. One thing about a filter like this, though, because it is so efficient, it tends to be more restrictive. You want to make sure that a system like this is professionally designed and installed. As you can see, there's a lot of filters for you to choose from. We have filters from MERV rating 1 through 4, all the way to MERV 16, which gives you hospital.
Okay, so that kind of showed you about what the filters look like. And then I'm going to show you a video on filter changing. And this is what we'll be doing tomorrow.
One of the most expensive and important parts of every home is going to be the heating and air conditioning systems. Because of the great expense of it, we want to do everything we can to keep that thing running as efficiently and as long as possible. And one of the ways we can do that is to provide regular routine maintenance to it. And one of the simplest things that we can do is change the air filter out every single month. When you're trying to figure out where your heating and air conditioning system is, usually they're placed somewhere outside. Oftentimes they'll be over on the side of the house, but many times they will also be up on the roof of the house. So this is what one of them looks like here. This is a Rheem unit, and it does heating and air conditioning all built into one unit. I would hate to see what the cost of this would be if I had to replace it. I'm guessing somewhere into the $15,000 to $25,000 range. So everything I can do to prolong its life, I'm gonna do. So when trying to locate where your heating and air conditioning filter is, usually they're going to be located in some type of out-of-the-way place. So in my case, it's in this hallway that leads into all of the bedrooms and our bathroom. And ours is up on the ceiling here. Yours may or may not be on the ceiling, but usually they're located in some out-of-the-way area where people aren't going to see them since they're kind of ugly looking. But here's what this one looks like here. Replacing the filter is a very simple operation. Usually there'll be 1 or 2 of these little thumb screws here, and I'm pushing up on the metal frame while I unscrew this. And then mine has a special feature where it won't fall on you, but some of them won't have that, so be careful as you lower this thing. In our case, it just swings right out of the way, and then I can take the filter down and out of there. There's a couple of important features on the air filter that you need to look for. The first one is the size of the air filter. So this one it's 25 inches by 25 inches by 1 inch thick. So you want to find the designation on your filter and see what size it is. The other thing that's important is to look at this symbol here, which shows you the airflow, and it shows you which direction the air is flowing. That's going to be very important for when we put the filter back in place. When you're ready to replace your air filter, you're going to need a replacement. I typically try to buy them in bulk. This package here comes in packs of 6, and that way it just makes sure that I always have one on hand when I need it. I don't want any excuse for me not to change the filter out, because it is such a simple, cheap way of keeping the air conditioning system running as efficiently as it can. There's different grades of filters. I usually try to buy a decent filter or a good filter. I don't always buy the most expensive ones that are the HEPA filters or the greatest filters, but I try to buy a good quality one. Some of the ones that are pollen and allergy rated are very expensive and can be upwards of $25 a filter. When I buy these in bulk here, I usually get the whole 6 filters for about $30 or so. So it breaks them down to about $5 each. And this is what the filter will look like brand new out of the box. So now it's time to put the air filter back into place. I've got the new one ready to go, and I've checked which way the arrow is pointing. The arrow is going to point into the aperture. We would like the air to flow from inside the house and then go up into the air conditioning and heating unit where it'll be heated or cooled and then returned back through the vents. So we need to make sure the arrow is pointing the right way. So the arrow should point up into the aperture. So I'll go ahead and put this into place here. Swing this into position and tighten the thumb screw. Now it's time to...
Okay. All right. So we're going to be starting our little AC inspection tomorrow. So I'll give you a sheet tomorrow, and we'll work through the process of how to do that. So I'm going to let you go today because we only got a few minutes left. Tomorrow we'll do our AC inspection.